What's up, Mod Squad? MOB back with another Division 2 video. Before we get into today's video, I want to announce that I have finally enabled my join button. This means for those of you who want to support the channel that little bit more, you can join and become members. You will have the access to badges and perks others don't. Becoming a member is another great way to support the channel, and it's going to help me improve on the channel's quality. If you guys are interested in being a member, then click the join button down below to check out the available perks. I believe the first tier is only $1. Thank you to those of you who choose to join. With that said, welcome to another Division 2 build breakdown video. In today's video, I bring you my Lincoln Memorial and Jefferson Trade Center heroic speedrun build. This build is a run and gun crit SMG build for those hardcore PVE players who like to top the leaderboards. We're talking max crit chance and 170% plus critical hit damage. This is a build where it's all or nothing, because if you hesitate, you're dead. It's a very high risk, high reward build. You'll need to have good knowledge of spawns within the missions and have decent aim. If you have those things, this build is extremely rewarding and fun to use. I really enjoy using this build because it requires a run and gun playstyle, which is my playstyle for PvP, so it's nice to have that in PvE as well. As you can see by the footage, this build absolutely shreds, and that's partly down to our weapon, which is the exotic SMG, Lady Death. The Lady Death seems to be the most popular gun to use in the game right now, and it gels really nicely with this build. The talent breathe free is just so strong on top of all that crit. When moving, gain 4 stacks per second and 8 stacks if sprinting, up to 32 stacks total. Each round fired consumes a stack, amplifying damage by 75%. Kills grant 20% movement speed for 10 seconds. This talent stacked with high crit and multiplicative damage is insanely strong. Along with the Lady Death, I'm using a gear set that I have loathed in previous patches and refused to use in PvP, but when it comes to PvE, I have to admit it's one of my favourites. Negotiator's Dilemma is an insanely good PvE build. Being able to mark up to 3 NPCs and have 2 of them take damage of the third you're shooting helps you get through groups of NPCs so much quicker. Negotiator's 2-piece gives us 15% crit chance and the 3-piece gives us 20% critical hit damage. Having crit chance from the 2-piece and having crit chance as a core attribute on our weapon enables us to spec into a lot of crit damage, making this a great build for SMGs. This build has great synergy thanks to both the specialization and its skills. First, we'll talk about the specialization and why it's so important to the build. The specialization I'm using is the gunner. There are a few reasons I'm using the gunner. The main one is because it allows us access to the Banshee pulse, which is a great skill to use because it launches a forward arc of pulse which confuses enemies. This gives me time to mark and melt through enemies without them shooting back at me. Other reasons to use the gunner include 10% armor on kill, which gives the build some survivability, 50% faster reload on every third reload, which is great because we are using the Lady Death and it only has a magazine capacity of 33 rounds, so we burn through those real quick. We also generate 10% of total ammo capacity every 60 seconds, gain 10% weapon handling while not moving, and get a rate of fire increase by 5% on kill for 5 seconds. This specialization is made for the run and gun playstyle. Before I break down the build, I want to cover the skills quickly. I mentioned that I'm using the Banshee pulse. Now because we have no skill tiers, our pulse only has an effect duration of 4.6 seconds and has a cooldown of 30 seconds. So we obviously won't be using the pulse often. This is why for our second skill, we are using the striker drone. Now I know some of you are thinking, you just said you have no skill tiers, so why use the drone? Well, there are 2 reasons we're using it. One is because it draws aggro from NPCs. Drawing aggro takes the attention away from us and allows us time to mark and melt through NPCs without being shot at. And the second reason is because the drone has a pretty long standard duration, so it's there when the pulse isn't available. The skills used with this build may be weak, but they have great purpose and synergy as well. So now I've covered the specialization and the skills, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the build and the stat sheet before leaving you guys with some gameplay. So moving on to the build breakdown, we're going to start off with our primary weapon, which is the Lady Death. 91.6k base damage, 900 RPM with 32 in the magazine. If you guys want to read over the breathe free talent, pause the video to look at it in greater detail. The attachments on this weapon, we have 10% critical hit chance for the scope, we have 5% critical hit damage for the muzzle, 500% melee damage from the grip, and 10% reload speed from the magazine. For the secondary, I'm using the Banshee, and it has 110.9% total damage. We have 900 RPM, 52 in the magazine, and we are using the talent Killer. Killing an enemy with a critical hit grants plus 40% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. Do not sleep on this talent, guys. It is very good. Before I was using this talent, I was using Optimist, and this is way better. Looking at the attachments, we have 5% critical hit chance, we have plus 20 rounds on the magazine, we have 5% critical hit chance from the laser pointer, and 5% critical hit damage from the flash hider. Moving on to the actual build now, starting off with our Negotiator's Mask. We have 13.4% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage, and 11.5% critical hit damage via a mod. Onto our Sokolov chest piece, which gives us 10% SMG damage. We have 13.2% weapon damage, 3.3% critical hit chance, which is a pretty low roll, 10.3% critical hit damage, and 12% critical hit damage via a mod. And I'm using for the talent Glass Cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 25%. All damage you take is amplified by 50%. So like I said, this build is all or nothing. You could use the perfect version, which I was using before I switched out to my Sokolov chest piece, but I found that if you went for Glass Cannon and Sokolov, you ended up getting more damage than if you ran this chest piece right here. Moving on to the holster, we have 12.3% weapon damage and 12% critical hit damage. As you can see, this is a very simple build to make, and a lot of people still sleep on it. 10.2% weapon damage on a backpack, 12% critical hit damage, 11.5% critical hit damage via a mod. And then onto the gloves, 9.3% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage. As you can see, some of the weapon damage rolls are not perfect, so we could be hitting a good bit harder. We have 14.1% weapon damage from these Fox Prayer knee pads. We are using them for the 8% damage to targets out of cover, because that's multiplicative damage. And then we have 12% critical hit damage rolled on there. And that is it when it comes to the gear set and the gear pieces. We're going to move on to the skills. I'm going to show you the cooldown duration real quick. We have 4.2 second cooldown, and we have a 225.6 second duration. This is why we're using the drone, because majority of the time it's up when the Banshee pulse is down. Looking at the Banshee pulse, and like I said earlier, the cooldown is 5 seconds, the effect duration is 4.6 seconds. That's it when it comes to the skills. We're going to move on to the stat sheet, and I'm just going to skim through this real quick, and I probably won't even say nothing to the very end. So if you didn't catch any of that, guys, go back, pause the video to check it out in greater detail. Let me know what you think about the build in the comment section below. I actually love it. It's a lot of fun speed running, but at the same time very frustrating because you have to get everything perfect. But when you get it right, it's so worth it. Don't forget to smash that like button to show your support. If you're new around here, hit that sub button to join the mod squad for lots more Division 2 content. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy the gameplay. Peace out, mob squad.
According to the schematics Isaac pulled upstairs, we can lock that tunnel door from their control center. That should keep them from being able to transport those mortars loaded with DC-62.
Shoot like that, Agent! Opening fire!
That should keep them from getting more of those mortars.
You think closing the tunnel is smart? Fuck you! You slot yourself in with us. I'll make sure you rot down here.
Good work. Go on and head back up. The team from the campus has taken position inside the memorial.